Hi, and welcome to the Living My Life Like It's Golden podcast. I'm your host, Louisa Larado. And on today's episode, I wanted to give you a sneak peek into our 2K Cash Boost by Christmas challenge. So, the following are some of the highlights from day one of our challenge, where we talked all about how to master your money mindset. And this is so crucial in any change in any area of your life. But it's also the biggest mistake that most people make because they just think that you've got to do all those practical strategies like how to earn more money or make more money or generate passive income sources or whatever they think is the way that you are going to become more financially stable. And those things only work if you've laid the foundations, and that foundation is your money mindset. So stay tuned. There is so much great content.
I'm really excited because over the next 3 days, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to reach that $2,000 goal for Christmas. And I'm going to break everything down really, really easily for you so you can see how you can easily make this something that's really easy for you to do. The reason that I decided that I really wanted to do this challenge was because money is something that I have experienced really great success with money, and then we went through a bankruptcy, and so I know what it's like to be on both sides, and I also know how that struggle about money can really feel to you. When I went through my bankruptcy, it gave me that chance to, I guess, reflect on all the things that weren't working and to see that was a pattern that, and there was all these new beliefs that had formed during our bankruptcy as well that just didn't serve me anymore. And it kept me stuck for a while. So after we went bankrupt, it took us a few years to rebuild. And at the time, we were still earning good money. We had a great company housing, bills covered and things like that. But we were still living paycheck to paycheck, and we just didn't feel like we were getting ahead, and we couldn't figure out why. And it wasn't until I started looking into different things, and a lot of it all came down to like the mindset work. Like, this is the foundation for everything. And it wasn't until I learned how to change my mindset around money that then things started to change for us, and we were able to start saving up and have a house and all these things now that started to flow a lot easier. I wanted to create this because I know at the moment there is a lot of people at the moment that are just feeling the pinch and feeling like the cost of living and the pressures of like the increasing expenses of everything, inflation, and it seems to be a lot harder. Like, I know now going to the shops, I used to spend $200 a week on groceries, and now it's at least $500 a week. And that constant pressure and the constant strain makes you feel like it's that restriction for a lot of people. So I know Christmas, the lead up to Christmas, can be a time where there is extra events happening. There's all these different occasions that you want to go out and catch up with people, and you want to have fun without feeling restricted. You're also going to probably be doing a bit more shopping than normal. So having that extra $2,000, I thought, would be a really great way to just give you that sort of head start and to make you feel good about your money and approach the Christmas season feeling ease and feeling a lot better and more free about your money. So this is why I really thought this would be a fun challenge to do with the lead up to Christmas, because what I'm going to do over the next couple of days is going to break it down really easy for you so you can see exactly how you're going to reach that $2,000 goal in time for Christmas. Today, what we're going to do first is we're going to work on the foundation, which is the mindset work, because I compare your mindset to like building a house. So if you were going to build a house, you wouldn't start with like the walls and the roof. You're going to lay the foundation first. And the walls and the roof, that's like your money managing strategies, budgeting, earning, creating additional incomes. That's all the other stuff that comes with it. But if you don't have that foundation down first, you're not going to be able to, create a structure that's going to hold up. And that's why we stayed so stuck for so long with our bankruptcy, because we were earning good money. We were able to, have all these opportunities. I was always doing additional side hustles and things like that on top of my current job. And it wasn't until then I did the mindset work that's when things actually started to happen for us. So today it's going to be looking at the mindset and why we're doing this challenge. Tomorrow we're going to go more into the practical money managing strategies and methods and things like that. And I'll show you how you can put them into play to really help you reach the goal. And on the third day, that's when we're going to be creating our actual action plan that's going to get you to that $2,000 goal just in time for Christmas. And it's less than 2 months away now. So it was officially 2 months, I think, on Friday. So it gives us a couple of months to make sure that we can reach this goal. So the first activity I want you to do that's really important is to decide why you want to why did you say yes to doing this challenge? Why have you decided to sign up and dedicate the next 3 days, take an hour of your time, which is very precious, to do this challenge? So what I want you to do on a piece of paper, I want you just to write down, first of all, why. What made you say yes? Once you've got that reason written down, the next thing that I want you to do is I want you to then think, okay, well, why? Why did you just say that thing that you said above? So we're going to go a bit deeper, because it's when we decide firstly why we're going to do something. So for example, recently I completely overhauled my way of eating because I knew it just was not serving me. And it was something I'd put off for years and years and years because, I really love all those foods that I knew weren't good for my body, things like the gluten and the sugar and all that sort of stuff. So I knew for the last few years, I was like, I know they're not good for me, but I love them. So I'm just going to keep eating them. And my reasoning that I didn't change that was because I didn't have time. I just didn't have the time. My kids are fussy. I don't want to have to cook 2 different meals. I just didn't want to have to think about getting my head around all the healthy stuff. I just really enjoyed that food too much. And it wasn't until I actually thought, okay, well, why am I going to do this? And I had to sit down and have a think about it. Well, initially I was thinking, I want to lose weight. So that was my first why. But then I needed to go deeper. So the technique I want to show you today is called 7 layers deep, or you can do 6 or 7 layers deep, or sometimes it's called the onion technique, where you're peeling back the layers of why you want to do something. So first we say our initial why. So for me, originally it was like to lose weight, or for the money thing, you might say, so I can have extra money ready for Christmas. Okay, then now I want you to go down on the next line and write why. So why do you want that extra money for Christmas, or why did you want to lose the weight? And just see what comes up for you. So I'll give you a moment to write your next why. So why the thing above that? We're going to go again. So like I'll use the weight loss example. So firstly, I wanted to lose weight. Why do I want to lose weight? Because I've started to lose my confidence, I guess, in the way that I look, and I want to sort of feel good in the clothes I'm wearing and things like that. Okay, well, why do you want to feel good in the clothes that you're wearing? I guess I want to be like a better role model for my kids and show them that, body confidence and things like that. So see how we're getting a bit deeper into really why you want to do something? So take another moment and write why, another why. And once you've done that, I want you to do that a couple more times and see what comes up for you. Quite often we just superficially say originally, like, this is our initial thoughts of why we want to do something, but there's always something deeper. There's always something behind that. And when you do this exercise and you get really deep on why you want to do something, that's going to help you stay motivated. That's going to help you stay focused, because this is to the core of what you really want to do. It's not just the surface stuff. It's not just the stuff we think that we should say, or, we think it's the right answer, or that's maybe what other people think we want to hear. So that's why we're giving those answers. So instead, I want you to really, really get clear. So Basically, you just every single reason you write, again, say, well, why that? And you should get down pretty clear to like a really strong reason why. If you have your why written down, what I want you to do is keep that written down somewhere where you will see this throughout the lead up to Christmas. Because every time you feel that motivation lacking, you can come back to this. And this you can use for any area of your life. It doesn't just have to be about money, it can be about a fitness goal, a health goal, a relationship goal, anything, any aspect of your life you want to improve. If you get really clear on your why to doing anything, that's really going to help you stay focused, because we don't often really look deep into that. And when you have a really strong why, not just a superficial one, that's when you've got that drive and that motivation that will keep you focused on your goals. All right, so now that we've done that, and you've got a bit of an idea about why you want to do something, we're going to do a quick little visualization exercise. So I want you just take a moment and close your eyes. Just sit comfortably and close down your eyes. And I want you to imagine that it's almost Christmas and you have reached that $2,000 goal. You can see that money in your bank account. How does that make you feel? Just take a moment to think of any feelings that are coming up, knowing that you've achieved that goal. Maybe it feels, you feel proud, you feel abundant, you feel grateful, you might feel empowered, accomplished. Just think of any of those feelings, knowing that you've reached that goal, maybe even more. Take a deep breath and you can open your eyes and just write down on your piece of paper any of those feelings that just came up for you. Just a couple of words, and have that under your why. And why, the reason we do anything in life, anything, the ultimate goal is because we want to have these feelings. We want things to feel good. We do stuff to take ourselves out of pain and into feeling good. Like really, that's the ultimate goal of everything that we do. So when we are going to be creating this focus on what we want, we have access to those feelings probably in other things. We don't need to wait to reach this money goal. And the more that we are tapping into those feelings that we know we want to get from this goal now, the more that you will be attracting more of those feelings, and the easier it will be to reach your goal. So say a feeling that came up for you had reaching that $2,000 goal was gratitude. When in your day-to-day life can you already tap into that feeling? If one of the feelings that came up for you maybe was feeling empowered, or what other things could you be doing each day that feel that feeling? So the more that you're consciously aware of the feelings that you want to be feeling, the ultimate goal, and then how you can access them in your day-to-day life, the more likely you are to create more of those feelings, and the easier that goal will flow for you. So that's just a few little things to think about, and you can keep that somewhere where you will see it regularly, just as a little reminder throughout the challenge. So now that we've got that, I want to congratulate you, because signing up and actually taking the time and showing up is making the decision that you are ready to reach this goal. So usually a tricky thing is to actually set a goal and make that decision. So I've sort of helped you by making the goal for you, which is $2,000 in time for Christmas. But you actually saying, yep, that's something I want to do, and I've decided to do it, and I'm showing up and I'm going to take time out of my day and make this a priority, then that means you're so much more likely to reach that goal. Because often in our days, we'll think of these ideas and these thoughts of things that we could be, that we should want, or we think, oh yeah, I'd like to have this or I'd like to have that, but we don't actually do anything about it. But by taking action and making it a priority and actually showing up and deciding, you know what, this is something I'm going to work towards, then that is, you know, half the battle already won. So well done for doing that. So you're already on the right path. So what usually happens though, when we set ourselves any goal, any sort of goal that's maybe a bit out of our comfort zone or may seem a bit difficult, and again, this is for any area of your life, not just money, what's going to happen is our brain is designed to keep us safe. So we've still got that, the caveman brain that hasn't evolved as much over the centuries, and it keeps us in that survival mindset. So it wants to keep us safe. So anything that poses a threat to us, so that might mean trying something new, doing something you haven't done before, learning something new, taking a risk. Every time it sees that sort of threat that takes you out of that comfort zone and that safety net, then what happens is it sparks that fight or flight response, and it keeps us, so we think, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And all of a sudden, you'll have all these ideas and these beliefs showing up in your brain that are telling you why you shouldn't do it, why it's a terrible idea, why it could happen, why it won't happen for you, why it won't work. And you'll probably have loads of things that start coming up for you. So, what you need to do and this is normal, this happens to every single person in the world, the most successful people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how practiced you are at all this mindset work, it's still going to happen. But the key is to become aware of these thoughts and realize they are just thoughts, they're just beliefs, but they are not actually true. So now that you know that this is your goal, your $2,000 goal in time for Christmas, what I want you to do is take a moment on your piece of paper and write down any limiting beliefs or ideas or what that little voice in your head is telling you why you can't reach that goal. And just write them down for me. Just jot down, don't overthink them, don't judge them, just literally list them down one under the other. So it might be things like, oh, I'm really bad with money. I don't earn enough money. I'm really bad at managing money. I make money, but I spend it too quickly, or I just love shopping too much, so it's probably not going to work. Anything down. So try and get about 5 down. If you can write more than 5, then that's great too. But take a moment just to jot those down. And then what these are, again, these are just beliefs. These are just ideas, and we all have them about any area of your life. But I can tell you one thing, they're not true. None of these beliefs that you have just written down are ultimately true. There is no divine source in the universe that have said, written this in stone and says, you are going to be bad with money. You are always going to spend more than you earn. You are always going to be terrible at managing money. Money is just too hard. Money is evil, whatever is coming up for you. So out of all those things that have just come up, what your brain does is it looks for evidence to prove that they are true. Again, trying to keep you in that comfort zone, trying to keep you in this safety bubble. And again, this applies to every area of your life. So if by your brain saying to you that you're bad with money, what it then does is it looks to seek evidence of times where you actually were bad with money. So for example, when I went bankrupt, that was a big belief. I'm bad with money. Obviously, we have money, we lost it all, and I'm the one managing the money. So that therefore, there's a big lot of evidence that tells me I'm bad with money. And what then you do, it's like where your focus goes, that's where your energy flows. So that's a thing that's commonly said, and it's so true, because whatever you choose to focus on, it might be like one day you go and buy a car that you've never seen before, and all of a sudden you see on the street all the same cars popping up everywhere. It's because that's now what our attention and our mind is focusing on. That's what then we start to see in our reality. So, and that's because your brain cannot process like the millions of bits of data coming at it at any one given time. It's very selective, and it will choose exactly what to focus on. So, it might be another really great example of this that I have in my house all the time is when might be my kids or my husband are going looking for something in the pantry, and they're saying, Mum, where's the sauce? I can't see it anywhere. I'm like, it's there on the second shelf right in front of you. I know where it is. I can't see it. And that's because they've already made that decision in their head that they can't see it. They're not going to find it. Only mum can find it. And then as a result, their brain doesn't process that information. And I'll go there and I'll be like, here it is right in front of you. And this happens to everyone, I know, but it's your brain's way of focusing on the information that is relevant and filtering out all the rest. So when we have these beliefs and these ideas and these thoughts, that again, just that, they're simply beliefs, ideas, thoughts. They are not truth. They are not set in stone. So right now your brain is looking for evidence of why are you bad with money? Why do you always spend more than you earn? Why do you shop too much and don't use that money towards other things that you would see a better purpose for you? So now you've gathered evidence of why these beliefs are true. So therefore your brain thinks, yep, there you go, tick, it's true. But what you can start doing now instead, now that you have this knowledge and you know that these are just ideas and they're not set in stone, and the same way that you have created these ideas already, you can then create the ones that you prefer, the alternative version. And you do it the exact same way that you created these limiting beliefs, but you've actually got to put a bit more effort into it now, because like I said, our default is going to be set to that limitation. So I want you to now learn how to switch it back to the abundance. And before I go into that, actually, let me just quickly touch on the difference between lack mindset and abundance mindset, because I think this is really important. And most of us right now, or most people, spend more of their time in a lack mindset than an abundance mindset. And what a lack mindset is basically you feel bad. It's things that make you feel bad. You feel worried, you feel stressed, you feel, overwhelmed. Any sort of negative feelings are associated with the lack mindset, and any feelings of just feeling joy, flow, ease, fun, abundance, gratitude. That's when you're into that abundance mindset. So, if you're doing something you just love and you lose all concept of time and you're just sort of in flow, then that's when you are in that abundance mindset. But unfortunately, our society that we are currently living in means that we spend a lot more time in a lack mindset than an abundance mindset. You just need to, turn on the TV or listen to the news or scroll through social media, and you are bombarded by all the bad stuff going on in the world. There's the election campaigns in the US and all the other things. There's constantly bad stuff that we're presented with. We go to work and it's stressful and people are complaining and they're whinging, and it's like the norm to be complaining. And then you're in this busy, fast-paced world where it's normal again. It's been normalized that we have to be so busy, we have to be always on the go, and we have to have this never-ending to-do list. And what happens is our brains actually have an addiction now to cortisol, which is that stress hormone. And the times, if you ever have that time or that moment where you've got a bit of downtime in your life, and you're like, oh, I can just, do something that I want to do. How often do you actually spend that genuinely doing something that really lights you up and brings you joy, and not just mindlessly scrolling through your phone or turning on a show that you can watch mindlessly and switch off? And the reason that we do that is because our brain is so addicted to that cortisol hit that the second that it's not there, it will be looking for more reasons to add something else that's going to stress us out or create that bit of unease in our lives. So you have to be really conscious and mindful of retraining yourself to have that time where you can be in more of an abundant state than that lack state. Because the ultimate goal is you want to be predominantly in your abundance mindset and not in your lack mindset. Because at the end of the day, the more you're in your lack mindset, the more stuff that will show up in your life that create lack. The more you're in your abundance mindset, the more things you'll see that will show up and create more abundance in your life. And so obviously the goal for everyone is to feel good. So we want to be in that abundance mindset. So good news though. So again, awareness of all of this is the key, because so many people are just going through life without being consciously aware of all of these things. But we're going to start rewiring that. So there's a great thing called neuroplasticity, and it is your brain's ability to create new neural pathways. So we're basically and essentially rewiring your brain. So at the moment, your default might be lack. It might be I'm bad with money. I spend too much, or whatever those default thoughts that are coming through that you don't even have to think about. They're just there. We need to retrain them. So what we're going to do, so next to all those limiting beliefs you wrote down, I want you to put the desired belief you would like to have instead. So it's usually the opposite. So if mine was I'm really bad with money, then my alternative is going to be I'm really great with money. I'm amazing at managing my money. If mine was I always spend way more than I earn, my alternative thought might become I always have more than enough left over after I spend money I spend, and I've still got money left over. So take a moment and jot down any of these beliefs now that you can now switch over. So the alternative next to them. So once you've done that, then the next step is going to be looking for evidence of when the new belief is true. And there will already be evidence of this now, but you can definitely add to this over the course of this week and even into the next couple of months. So, for example, if my old default belief was I'm bad with money, the evidence was, well, I went bankrupt, so I must be terrible with money. Is that true? Ultimately, no, it was for maybe that time in my life, but now that is not true. So my new belief, I'm excellent at managing money. Okay, well, where's the evidence that shows me that? And I'm going to write down examples in my day-to-day life where I'm excellent at dealing with my money. So it might be I always pay my bills on time. I'm excellent. I've set my accounts up so that all my direct debits and things flow out, so it just works for me. I've made sure that we always have enough money in our house to have enough to pay for groceries and everything else. Even if that, means moving money from around in different areas, I know that there's always going to be enough and that we don't ever have to go into debt again. So I'm looking for evidence to show me and to prove to me that it's the new reality. And you're going to do that for each of those limiting beliefs. And again, this doesn't just apply to money. You can use this technique in any area of your life that you want any improvement in. But it's a really great exercise. And then every time between now now that you're consciously aware of these thoughts that are coming up, you'll start to become aware when they run through your head. If you go out on the weekend and you're going to go shopping or something and you're thinking, oh no, well, I'm bad with money, so I shouldn't do this. Then you can start thinking, okay, well, actually, no, that's just an idea. And then you can start becoming aware and consciously retraining yourself and then thinking those new thoughts instead. Takes a bit of time and practice, but this is going to be a really good tool that's going to set you up for success. And this was one of the turning points doing this exercise for me with my money mindset, because before then I felt like I was constantly we were always running out. Bills would come out and there'd not be enough money left over. So I'd be transferring money out of our savings all the time. And it just wasn't working until I did this. And then I was like, oh, now I know. And it really helps change everything. It really does. So again, it takes a bit of time and patience. So give it a go, but you can see what comes up for you. So the power of belief is something that scientists have been researching for a while, and to see the impact that actually has. And if you think I can't do something, of course you're not going to be able to, but even having that bit of belief and think, I probably can. I remember years ago, probably about 5 years ago, I decided I wanted to run a marathon. And prior to that, I hated running growing up. It was the worst thing ever. I just couldn't think of anything worse. And my kids are the same now. Every time they've got to do any cross country event or something, a long distance run, they're like, no, not even trying. I hate it. And I remember being the exact same. But after I had kids, I got slowly into running. I thought this is something I want to start working on. And the idea of doing a marathon, which is 42 kilometers, was something that was just so crazy. But I decided, you know what? I believe that I can do it. Even though I didn't know how I was going to do it, it was a belief that I had. And I did end up running a marathon. And another really great example of belief I found fascinating is the American psychologist Carol Dweck. She was the founder of the first psychologist to really bring into light the whole growth mindset theory. So she's been doing a lot of research over the years. She's like in her 80s now, so it's been a long career of researching her different examples. And an example of hers that I absolutely love is she did this experiment, and where she used to go into lots of different schools, high schools and things like that. So a lot of her focus on kids and their ability to, have that growth mindset and the belief, I guess, within themselves. And so what she did is she tested this on hundreds of kids at different high schools, and they were from a range of different backgrounds, socioeconomic areas, races, academic levels. And what she did is she gave them all a set of 100 keys, and that she put them in a locked room, and she said to them, you have 1 minute to unlock the door. And obviously 100 keys, the chance of that happening is going to be very slim. So she did that, and obviously the majority of the kids did not succeed within that 1 minute of time. So then she ran the experiment again. The only difference was this time she gave each of the kids in the experiment a superhero cape, and it might have been like Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman or whoever. She didn't say anything about the cape. She just gave them the cape for them to wear, set the exact same challenge, and she found that most kids managed to find the right key. Same set of 100 keys, same time frame within that minute. And just that act of putting on that superhero cape, it like empowered them to have that belief that, that what the association, I guess, with superheroes and you believe in oneself. If you're a superhero, of course you can, reach a goal in 1 minute, even though it seems so crazy. And it's that idea that once, you've got that belief that everything sort of starts to flow. So belief and this is why this stuff I do so much foundation work on your mindset, because it really is crucial to every single aspect of any sort of change you want to see in your life or reaching any goal that you have. So if you decide you can, then you are like almost there pretty much. It's just putting a few actions into place now to reach a goal, but actually making the decision, deciding, yeah, I can do this. That's like 2/3 there already. And then it's just putting all the practical stuff together after that. Another really great technique to keep you in that abundance mindset over your lack mindset is to start focusing on what you already have in your life that makes you feel abundant or grateful. So the power of gratitude, it's been spoken about, and scientists have studied it for many, many years. And the reason it's something that it always boils back down to is because it literally is the foundation for everything, and it really does make a difference. And I know personally, the periods of my life where I've had a regular gratitude practice versus the times where I'm like, nah, too busy, can't be bothered, don't feel like it. Like the reflection of my life and the different stages of my life is crazy. And I know that, it's evident to those people around me that you can tell when I'm in that gratitude mindset versus, the periods of time where I was in that lack all the time. And it's reflected in every aspect of your life. It's not just your mindset, because I know for me, it reflected in making poor food choices, always having low energy, not getting enough sleep, having that low self-worth. Like the cycle continues. But when you come back to gratitude, it is such a game-changing thing to do. So the simplest thing to do this, and this is something that we all have available to us, and you can do it at any time of day. You don't even need to write it down. It is a lot more powerful when you write it down. Like I know there's been some research on like the power of actually physically writing it down to help create those new neural pathways. It like speeds up the process. But if there's points in your day where you don't get to that, just reflecting and taking a moment to think on what you're grateful for is so powerful. And my favorite example of the gratitude practice was years ago when I was doing life coaching, and I had one of my coaching clients come to me, and her and her husband were having really bad marital problems to the point where They were looking at possibly getting separated, and it was more he wanted that, and she wasn't really interested in it at the time. And during our coaching session, we were just reflecting on it. And obviously, you can't change anybody else. You can't, obviously there's things you want to change about somebody else, but you can't, you can't do that. They've got to do that for themselves. But I said to her, why don't you just like write down a gratitude list of all the things that you are grateful about for your marriage, even though you're in a crappy situation right now and it doesn't feel good and it's not working and he's, suggested getting a separation. Why don't you just take a moment and reflect on actually what's worked? What are you grateful for? And she went home after our coaching session and she did her list of all the things that she liked. And she was meeting her husband for lunch later that day. And she went to, and I didn't tell her to do this, but she went and she gave him the list of all the things that she wrote down. And she's just said that experience of sharing that with him as well was like such a game changer in their marriage. And they work through their problems. But it was just taking that time because they obviously just, you don't sometimes stop and think about what's working and what's right. And when you write down gratitude, the more things that you write down or the more you practice gratitude, the more you're in that state of being grateful. Like the gratitude is like the top of all the different like vibrational frequencies of all the different emotions. Like gratitude is I'm pretty sure it's the very top or the second from the top one. Because when you're at that vibration, you attract more things into your life that make you feel grateful. And so that definitely worked for her relationship. And they're still married to this day. And that was probably about 8 years ago that we did that session together. So I know it wasn't all me, but just the power of gratitude to turn that around, though, was definitely a turning point, I guess, for them and having that awareness and then them keeping that as something that they did as part of their relationship. And so what I want you to do, another task I'm going to set for you, you don't need to do it now, you can do it over the course of the week, is just start thinking of things that already make you feel grateful right now, things that make you feel abundant. And often it's like the little things that we don't even give much thought, we just take for granted. So those days people are like, oh, I've had a crap day. I've got nothing I can be grateful for today. I'm like, well, are you breathing? Do you have a light you can switch on that gives you electricity? Do you have water that flows from your tap? Can you have a hot shower? Do you have a bed you can sleep in? There's so much in our lives, even if you've had what you think is the worst day ever, that a million people in this earth would kill to have an experience that you just had, where you had all these great things that we just take for granted. And by focusing on what you are grateful for, you'll start to see more things come up. And so it might be hard at first, especially if you haven't done a gratitude practice for a while. It might be something that's a bit difficult for you at first. But the more you do it, the more easier it gets. And for me, I like doing it in the morning when I wake up. If I'm making a coffee and I take out a journal and I'll just write a few things down then while the coffee's making. So that's a really good habit to associate it. It's good to have something you can associate one habit with another. Or if you know that's something you do, that's when you do your journal. You can do it on your phone. Sometimes we do it as a family at dinner time. We'll go around and say a couple of things we're grateful for. I've done it in the past when I'm putting the kids to bed and we talk about what we were grateful for. So you find a way that works for you, and you can do it on your own. You can do it as a family practice or with your partner, whatever works for you. But it is such an underrated practice, but it is probably like the most powerful transformative thing you can do. So I'm going to challenge you for this week, every single day, to think of at least 3 things you are grateful for and actually take the time to write them down. Writing down 3 things you're grateful for, that will take you 1 minute, maybe 2. But like I just said, if you've got air to breathe, if you're healthy, if you can walk, if you can run, if you look around at what you have in your life. So those times in your day where you might be feeling low energy or stressed or worried, or those feelings that are putting you in that lack, come back to gratitude. It's a tool that you can use at any time. You don't even need to write that down. Just come back. I was chatting to some friends last night and we were talking about how they were feeling so impatient as they're getting older, just things like waiting in lines. And one of my practices I do is when I am having to wait for something, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to use this to do some like breathing or breathing techniques or gratitude and just thinking about things in my head. And it just changes everything. And it turns, there's this experience in our day that we can either take to think, oh, get frustrated and worried and stressed about, or we can say, all right, well, I've got nothing else to do. I'm just going to use this time right now to breathe, to, reflect on things that have happened in my day. And it really will change your mood and it will change your mindset. And what all of this stuff is doing is it is really going to give you that foundation to reach any goals with money or any area of your life. But starting with a really strong mindset. And these few techniques that I've just shared with you are going to give you just a few little tweaks that you can start doing and some practices that you can do. And the more that you practice this stuff and the more that you do all these activities that I'm sharing with you, the more things will start to flow into your life. So, and the easier it will be. And when you are feeling crap, you can easier come out of those moods. Or when you notice yourself getting stressed or worried. Like today, for example, even I was working on doing some stuff with my business, and as I was doing it this afternoon, I was like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm not feeling it right now. I don't want to do it. So it's acknowledging that, okay, well, this point in time right now, that's not working for me. I'm not feeling in flow. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to do something else that I enjoy instead. And you know what? I can come back to that at a later time. And that's just sort of what you need to be doing. You need to be aware of those times in your day where things just aren't working. Or is there things in your day you're doing just because you think you have to, but you don't really need to have to, and they're making you feel stressed or resentful or worried? So that's just a few things I want you to become aware of. And another final strategy I want to give you tonight to work on your mindset is, like I said, the goal is to stay out of lack and more into an abundance. But right now, depending on, if you're watching the news or if you are subscribing to things or watching YouTube videos that bring feelings of anger or resentment or stress or worry, then unsubscribe from them. Turn off the news for a week. Listen to music that uplifts you, that makes you feel good instead, if that is a habit that you're doing. Or you don't need to be amongst every bit of news that's out there if it's constantly feeling straining. If you spend a lot of time on social media, then curate your feed so that it uplifts you and inspires you. And if that means unfollowing every single one of your Facebook friends or Instagram people and only seeing things show up in your feed that inspires you or makes you feel good to watch. So maybe you love watching funny dog videos or love watching, I don't know, anything that uplifts you and inspires you. Make that what you're going to be seeing on social media instead. Instead of, we've all got those friends that comment on things, or if you're part of like community Facebook groups where there's always someone that's whinging about something going on, and then you end up finding yourself reading all these comments and you're like, what am I doing with my life? Instead of doing that, then try the latter. Try curating your feed, or even have a break from social media for the next week if you want to. You don't have to, but that's just an idea. But be really mindful of what you are consuming, even TV shows, even books you're reading. If it is lowering your vibration and it is making you feel worried and stressed, then that might not be the right fit for you if you want to be in this abundant mindset. Instead, do try and make a conscious effort to do more of the things that you actually enjoy this week too. So it might be, instead of scrolling through social media, because we all say we don't have time to do stuff, but we all have. I bet if you look on your screen time, most of us would be spending a minimum of 30 minutes a day, and that's very conservative, on social media at different points of our day. So could that time be spent doing something that just lights you up, that you love? So it might be things like listening to some music and having a dance around the house. It might be going for a walk or calling up a loved one, or whatever it is that you know just brings you joy, that fills you up. Go back to those feelings that we did at the beginning when I said, why do you want to do this? Why did you say yes to this? Go back to those feelings and decide what are some things you could do right now to help you get into those feelings. And like I said, tomorrow we're going to move more into the practical side of things. But today I just want to give you the real foundation. And I'll give you one more analogy before I give you your action task for today. So, like anything, I want you to imagine you've got two gardens, and you've got one that is like this beautiful manicured garden, like every blade of grass is meticulous, it's beautiful flowers, it's colorful, it's vibrant, it makes you feel good when you're inside this garden. And your other garden is just overgrown, it's full of weeds. Basically, no one's looked after it for about a year. So the grass is up to my neck, and there's weeds everywhere, there's dead flowers and all sorts of stuff. Now, if I wanted this weedy, overgrown garden to look like the beautiful, idealistic garden, and I say, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to water this garden and I'm going to fertilize this garden. Just by doing those two actions alone, is that going to give you a beautiful manicured garden like the one on the left? And the mistake so many people make in terms of money mindset or money strategies, and where a lot of people go wrong, is they think, yep, I am going to learn how to manage my money. I'm going to learn how to, all these different money making strategies, all these different money generating strategies, and that's what I did at first. I read The Barefoot Investor, and I learned how to manage my money really well. And then I did a course in share trading. So I learned how to generate income through shares. And I'd learned how to, I had additional businesses. So I was generating money from all these different sources. So, but nothing was changing. We were still running out of money all the time. And that was because it was like I was just fertilizing and watering the garden. So yeah, it might green up a bit. So I might have had a bit of extra money, but it's never going to look like the beautiful garden because I haven't got rid of the weeds yet. I haven't got rid of the weeds yet. And the weeds is your mindset. It's all these beliefs in your brain that are telling you why you can't do it. It's all this limitation. It's all this lack thinking. It's all these ideas that we have that either other people tell us, that we've heard our parents talk about money, our loved ones talk about money, these fears that we have about money. They're all the weeds in your garden. So until we start pulling out the weeds first, then we can water it. Then we can start fertilizing it and mowing the lawn and doing all the extra things. But until you do that, nothing is going to change. You might see a little bit of improvement, but it's not going to be long lasting. It's not going to create that long lasting stability. And it's like a quick fix. It's not going to change greatly. Okay. So I just want you to think of that and why I've spent the whole almost hour just talking about mindset, because it really is that real crucial step. And I could talk about so many more aspects of mindset that I haven't even touched on today. I could take a week talking about it alone, but as a foundation, it's a really good starting point. So let me leave you with some actions for you to complete tonight. You might have done some of them during the session already because I've spoken you through them already. But firstly, I want you to be clear on your why. Why do you want to reach this goal? And then you can go that bit deeper, ask yourself it a few times, 5 or 6 or 7 times, to get really clear on truly why you want to do it. Once you've done that, put it somewhere where you can see it, make it really clear. This is going to keep you focused and motivated. So put it on your fridge or put it in your bathroom mirror, wherever you're going to see it each day. Maybe have it as a little reminder that pops up on your phone throughout the day or on your screensaver. Once you know why you're going to do something and that focus is going on that why, you're going to be more likely to follow through with the action steps we're going to be touching on over the next couple of days. Now, your second action step for tonight or before tomorrow is to list down any limiting beliefs or ideas that come up for you about money. So this could be ideas about, all the things that we just spoke about. And then the next step is then to reframe all of those ideas. So you might have done a couple while we were doing the call tonight, but if you've got some more that come up for you, or you probably will start thinking of a whole load more, list down as many as you can think and then reframe them. And you want to reframe them to help you support this $2,000 money goal that we are going to be looking at working towards over the next couple of nights. And then once you've reframed them, start writing down the evidence. Where in your life have you already shown that you can do these things? Or if there is no evidence that you are doing these things yet, then think, okay, well, what are some examples of other people that are similar to me that are doing these things? And if they can do those things, then why can't I? If it's already proven that it's possible in this world to do these things, then is there any reason that I can't? So start reframing all those ideas. Next action step is to unsubscribe or unfollow or turn off anything, especially over the next week, or at least a minimum of over the next 3 days during the challenge. But the longer you do this, the better. That just doesn't feel good. That's low, you feel lowering your mood, lowering your vibration, taking away from that abundance thinking mindset. So try and, if it's curating your newsfeed, if it's completely switching off social media or having a day's break at least just to do more of the stuff that makes you feel good, then do that. And your last bit of action step or homework for tonight is to make an abundance or gratitude list of all the things that you already have in your life. And like I say, try and do a minimum of 3 each day, definitely over the next 3 days. You'll probably notice a big shift in your day if you start it with a bit of gratitude. I definitely notice the days I've done it compared to the days that I don't. So see how you go with that. Now, a few other little things you can do if you like. So if you've enjoyed this content and you know somebody else that you think would enjoy it as well, feel free to share the challenge with them. Now, they can still register over the next couple of days. And if they register at any time before Tuesday, or when the challenge finishes on Tuesday, then they'll still be able to access the replay. So even if they haven't watched this call, they can go back and they can watch this on the replay and then take part in the challenge as well. And it's also been proven scientifically, you're so much more likely to achieve any goal if you have an accountability partner, someone to keep you accountable. So if you have a friend or a loved one that's doing this challenge with you, then you can work on it together, but you'll also be a lot more likely to follow through and complete the challenge as well. So benefits both of you if that's something you are doing. So feel free to invite someone. Last thing is make sure you complete all your action steps before tomorrow. So hopefully you have got a little bit out of tonight's work. There's a lot of stuff you have to do for homework. Remember, tomorrow we're all going to be talking about the actual practical stuff, so how you can actually set up your money. Then we'll be going into the different action steps to take to make sure you reach this goal.
Now, hopefully, you enjoyed that sneak peek into what we spoke about during the 2K challenge. Now, it's actually not too late to still register for this challenge. We've still got 2 more days to go. So we're going to be looking in over the next 2 days at how the actual practical money managing strategies to reach the 2K goal. And then the following day, we're going to be going with the exact action plan and the steps you need to take to reach your 2K goal. So if you would like to register and join the challenge, not only will you have access to all this content and the replay of it so you can watch the video back, you'll also have access to our private Facebook group where we can support and connect with each other and just have a bit more accountability. If that is something you want to join and become a part of, then head over to louisalarado.com/challenge, or you'll find the link in the show notes to register your spot. And again, share this with a friend if you know somebody else that would also benefit from taking part in this challenge and listening to this message. Now, if you've enjoyed today's content, also make sure you are subscribed or following along to the Living My Life Like It's Golden podcast. And I'd love to hear a review or a comment that you have about today's episode. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode.